subscribe and like the Triple B channel, or I'll make you fall on your own leg.
Well, we saw Amir Khan get in the ring just there. That's not going to happen, surely, is it?
Mate, I just said it on air, and Tony Bellew cracked up laughing, and I wasn't being horrible, I was just being brutally honest. Amir Khan's only good for one thing.
What's that?
Getting knocked out.
Hey, Froch, man. Froch. You got to give him that. In real life, he's a great troll, man. He never lets it go. You know, even you remember the George Groves Mayweather thing he said. Before my last fight, when I knocked out George Groves in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley, I worked a lot on power. I chopped down a few trees as well. I mean, at the time when he said that Mayweather thing, people were like, "What a clown! What a cringe!" But then it caught on, and people started to realise he's just doing one of the world's greatest trolls, basically burying, what's his face, George Groves. You know, I was George Groves' fan. You know, at the time I was a bit gutted. I think he deserved to win at least one of those fights, and still kind of do. But turns out, you know, George Groves actually, he's really disliked. People that have worked with him really don't like him. He's manipulative, not nice. I know loads of guys that sparred him don't like him. You know, DeGale, who I really didn't like, but he used to, you know, he really went for Groves, but there's reasons for that apparently. Froch as well, obviously, and he'd sparred Froch before. The beef started in the gym, but yeah, Froch, I mean, he could be quite funny. Yeah, what you notice in the clip actually when he's talking about Amir Khan is you can look at his face, man. Listen, man, you can see the yayo thing. It's been said a lot. He's into the yayo. Now, I've said it on some videos before. You know, I know that how tight he is. Froch does not like partying with a pound note at all. He like collects some Groupon vouchers and stuff like that. Yeah. But he's made his money. He's made a lot of money, but he hates spending it. But maybe what's his name, Rachel Cordingley, has encouraged him because obviously she needs to have stuff bought first. She wants to design her clothes. She wants to show off and go, yeah, look at my Chanel handbag, my this, my that. You know, like all these other skets. You know, and that's the real reason that, you know, what's his face, Carl, the Cobra Froch, does not like Khan at all, and he always lays into him. It's because everyone knows that Rachel Cordingley, who just wanted the famous man with the cash money, with the bag, yeah, got smashed by Amir Khan before Carl Froch got in there. So technically, Rachel is Amir Khan's seconds, sloppy seconds, and Froch picked up them seconds. Now it says he's very bitter, and you know, people say, "Oh yeah, he's EDL," so he don't like the Muslims. So that's the extra dig because, you know, Amir Khan is a Muslim, and you know, he put his ting into Rachel, and you know what, it's a bit gross, right? I don't really like talking like this, but I was reading this on some forum, and people had watched the Amir Khan is also a pervert. You know, he's whacking off and talking about leaving his wife for a tranny. Well, the Skype whacking video, which by the way I think is a bit of an Illuminati setup. They make you humiliate yourself, yeah. You have to do that. That's part of the deal, man. And also, it's a bargaining chip as well. Like, you step out of line, you don't do what we tell you, we're going to release those videos on you. Yeah? But anyway, I read on this forum, and I don't know why people talk about this stuff now. You never used to get this in the old day. But going, oh yeah, Amir Khan, I saw the whacking video, the Skype whacking off video, and he had a very, very long but thin tool with a large bell end. I mean, what the hell? Why would people discuss this kind of thing? Back in the day, you would never talk about no one's tool like that or your own. People just look at you and go, "You freak. What are you talking about?" But that's because the era of porno and stuff has normalised this stuff. But anyway, moving on from Amir's straw ting, which is gross. You know, so, you know, Froch just loves to have a crack at him. He's always telling him to turn it in. It's time to turn him in. And it's like Nazim Hamed having a crack at Chris Eubank saying, you know, Junior, you can't fight. He needs to turn it in. He needs to stop fighting or whatever. You know, they. So yeah, I kind of admire Froch's work there. The problem is, oh yeah, he doesn't stop either. Listen to this as well.
Amir Khan needs to have a reality check and realise that his fight game's over. He was a great fighter, Amir Khan. He had some real good nights where I was proud of him for staying on his feet and doing the business.
So Froch is like pretending to give him a compliment. Yeah, I really respect Amir, you know. I was so proud of him when he managed to stay on his feet in those fights, which is basically another like huge dig at him, saying, you know, he's so chinny that, you know, you know, he was always about to get knocked out, and I was so pleased that he managed to make it, you know. Standing on his 2 feet, you know, Froch. I mean, it amuses me quite a lot. But the thing is about Froch, he's one of them guys that cannot take it. He'll dish it out, he cannot take it, right? Yeah, you know, whenever someone, you know, has a pop at him or something like that, takes it real personal. Gets really upset. Now, I always thought it's like, look, if you're going to take the mickey out of other people, you've got to be able to take it yourself. Yeah, I can't stand them ones that slating people, and then you turn on them and they get really, oh, you say that to me, what I dare you fucking wrong, and you'll make me my pal, and you're like, whoa, hang on, you can't you can't take it, don't dish it out, blood clot. so Froch is one of them types, you know, and he's obviously mentally a bit, you know, I think he's probably a bit autistic, but you can't quite, you know, like, he's not secure in himself. He used to cry before sparring matches, you know, break down before boxing matches. You know, he'd have no confidence in himself. He was ugly, and his big nose and stuff that he had a surgery on. So, you know, he's obviously a very insecure guy. Having said that, you have to admire a guy who's that insecure and that doubts himself and has to go through all that grief and still manage to step up in front of 80,000 fans at Wembley, stood his ground, did some swimming, knocked him out. But in all seriousness, yeah, you know what? He fought at a high level, and to go through all that, you get a guy like David Hay, man, who's really confident. Yeah, you know, he ain't stressing before the fights. You know, he's not stressed out. He'll do his thing. Yeah, and then someone like Carl Froch is going through like mental psychological hell. He just doesn't want to be there. He didn't even want to spar. He was crying in the England camps. Yeah. But anyway, it was a nice bit of trolling from Carl. I'll enjoy his troll. I mean, definitely on the yayo. You can see that. I mean, man, I've seen thousands of men on the yayo, you know, and you know, he's not the number one candidate, I think, to be on it, but he is. He obviously likes it. He's obviously had a taste for it. The beak, as they say. He got rid of his beak. Well, had plastic surgery on his beak, and now he's ruining his new nose with stuffing some beak up his new beak. That makes sense. Now, you know, and I think in a few years we'll be getting the old rehab stories and stuff going out. But I'll give this at least he ain't getting fat and like, you know, like Hatton, yeah, and red face like Hatton, and also Calzaghe's head. Calzaghe had a coke problem. He was quite a handsome man, no homo, when he was boxing. But when he retired, it's like his face started to swell in his hands because he was getting into the drink and the yayo. But yeah. Anyway, Carl Froch, yeah, I'll be watching him, man. You know, I'm sure we'll hear about his rehab horror cocaine hell in a few years, but he may be too proud, actually, you know, to go to the papers and admit that, because, you know, he doesn't want to look weak, you know. He doesn't want to look weak, you know. And people say he's into swinging as well, you know, some weird kind of, that's creepy, you know, cockodine type thing. There's this picture of him with putting his hand in another woman's hair, you know, it's going to be him and his pal. I mean, this world is, I mean, you know, that story I told you about Lee Wood, having the DNA test his child because him and his best pals smashed his woman. They both bust a nut inside her. So I didn't know who was the father of the kid. I mean, this is grotesque. It comes from pornography. It comes from the entertainment business. It comes from Hollywood. It comes from everything. You know, this is not normal to be like that. Yeah, people don't come into the world going, you know what, I really, you know, they're growing up and they go, oh, you know, I really, you know, like to see my best mate smash my first girlfriend. No, they don't. They're jealous. They want to be with their girlfriend themselves and protect them and you know, be only with them. But, you know, this is how easy it is for the elites to manipulate your head. And before you know it, something that horrified you becomes interesting, and then you start getting into it. It's a kind of twisted mental, you know, psychology. Anyway, enough about that. But yeah, Carl Froch, yeah, you're still a mug, man. You are a mug. But I do quite like your in real life trolls.